Hi guys, this is Ty and welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be reviewing The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, which is the second book in the Mistborn trilogy. So this is going to be a very spoilery filled video. I definitely will be spoiling some things that happened in the first book so that I can talk about the second book. And there are some things that I really want to discuss that I really enjoyed in the second book, which are going to contain spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I would suggest reading the first two books and then coming back. But let's get started. So if you don't know, Mistborn, The Final Empire, the first book in the series, is about this world that has been taken over by this immortal man that goes by the name the Lord Ruler, who basically stripped this society down and made it completely his own. In this world, the tone that I got was very like dark and meek. We have ash that's continuously falling down throughout the day. They're dealing with mists that come up at night that make people not want to go out at night in this society. And the Lord Ruler has basically broken everything out into two groups. So we have the nobility, who are more on the wealthier side and higher up in society. And then we have the Ska, who are basically the slaves in the society and who are the lower class. This world also has a very unique magic system, which is called allomancy. And these powers are generally meant for people who are part of the nobility, but because there's a lot of interbreeding that goes on in this society, we have some of the Ska who actually have some of these abilities as well. So allomancy is the ability for people to use or ingest metals to gain certain powers. So you can adjust in certain metal and gain super strength. You can ingest a certain metal so that you can have different heightened senses. You can ingest metals so that you can sense other people that are using this power around you. So basically we have mistings that can use one metal. So they can ingest one type of metal and use that particular power. And then we have Mistborn, who can use all of the metals and get all of the power. So the general plot of the first book is we have this Mistborn by the name of Kelsier, who decides that he is going to build this group of people up so that they can eventually kill the Lord Ruler, take over the society, and make the world a better place. Basically. So while he's building this crew, he actually comes across this Ska, which she's also considered a sea urchin, by the name of Vin, who he later finds out is actually a Mistborn. So he is training Vin so that she can become a powerful Mistborn and be able to help the crew. That's the general plot of the book. So after reading the first one, I just didn't understand how we could have a second book, because they kill the Lord Ruler, and then our main character, Kelsier, also dies. So it's kind of like, well, what the heck is the second book going to be about? I was under the impression when I first started the series that all three books will be leading up to us trying to kill the Lord Ruler, but we did all that in the first book. So I didn't know what the heck the second book was going to be about. I actually did not really care for the first book like I wanted to. My main problem with that, and this is just a personal problem, was that the magic system confused the heck out of me. I understand it better now because I'm used to reading it, and it took some getting used to. And all the different metals, thank God Brandon Sanderson put a little like chart thing in the back of the book so that I can refer back to what the heck each of the metals did. But I also feel like that kept taking me out of the story in the first book, because every time there was a fight scene and they were throwing out, you know, they used tin, they used pewter, they were using bronze and brass. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't remember what these metals are. I would have to hurry up and flip in the back of the book. And it kept taking me out of the story. So I didn't like that. And then I was okay that Kelsier died, okay, whatever. But it was like, it happened so fast. It happened in a couple of pages. And I'm like, wait, what? We've been building up to these final moments in this book, and he died within 2 or 3 pages. And I'm like, oh my God, I hate when that happens. I hate when we have big buildups in stories, and then it only lasts for like a couple of pages. So I honestly, I felt lukewarm about the first book. And I actually read The Mistborn way back in like 2018 maybe. So I didn't think that I was going to be picking it up again, but I kept looking at my shelves, and I just was like, let me go ahead and see if I'm going to like the second book. And let me tell y'all, I loved The Well of Ascension. I loved this book. Needless to say, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So what is this book about, you say? This book basically is following the crew after the Lord Ruler has died. So we are following this society as they're trying to deal with how to rebuild everything once the Lord Ruler is dead. And that's a lot harder than you think it would be, because we have this society that is so used to being dominated by this man. They are used to living a certain way. And now that they are dealing with Elend, who is coming into this as a new ruler and trying to do all these changes, people just could not cope well with that. So not only are we dealing with this society trying to, figure out what they're going to do since the Lord Ruler is dead, these other people that are trying to take over Luthadel. So Luthadel is the main city that all of this is taking place in. So we have Ellen's father, Straff, who is bringing an army to try to take over the city. We have another person by the name of Set, who has his army that's trying to take over the city. And we also have Elend's friend from the first book, Jassis, who brings this group of Koloss, which are these big blue monster things that are also trying to take over Luthadel. So we have 3 armies that are trying to take over Luthadel. So not only is Elend and the crew trying to deal with this, they are also trying to deal with the mists that are now appearing longer in the day. The mist used to come out at night, and now it's slowly starting to come out during the day. And they have found out that the mists are possibly killing people, so they're trying to figure that out. And then we are also trying to figure out where the Well of Ascension is. And they're also trying to figure out where the Adium is. And the Adium is this really strong metal that the Lord Ruler used, and that the Lord Ruler had people digging for in the first book. So we have all of these things that are happening in the second book. But the second book is really slow. Not slow that it's boring, but slow as in you're not getting a lot of the fight scenes that you got in the first book, which I was here for. I have learned the more adult fantasy that I'm getting into, the more I just like political intrigue and the plotting and the scheming and the trying to figure out what we're going to do in situations like the situations that they're in. So I really, really, really enjoyed the second book. There are a couple of things that I want to go ahead and touch on that I liked in the second book. And the first one would be Vin and Ellen'S relationship. So in the first book, Vin and Elend had a crush on each other. By the end of the book, they really liked each other. And in the second book, they're still together. But one of the things that I don't like with romance is how we have these young characters who get in their first relationship and now that's like the love of their life, and then it's understood that this is going to be the person that they're going to be with forever, and it's just not realistic. So even though that they're still together in the second book, I like that they had a lot of issues in their relationship. It wasn't just this, oh, we fell in love in the first book, we're still in love now, everything's all perfect. No, they both questioned a lot about their relationship and whether or not they should be together. We had the introduction of a character by the name of Zane, who was also a Mistborn, that interacted with Vin a lot in the second book, and he really made her question whether or not she should be with Ellen. And, you know, he was putting ideas in her head like, hey, we're both Mistborn. He doesn't understand you like I do. He doesn't understand the things that we have to do to protect everybody. And it really got her thinking, you know, man, maybe I shouldn't be with him because he doesn't understand the things that we go through. And I like that because it just made sense. You know, relationships aren't perfect. So I like that they had a lot of conflict. And it wasn't just on Vin's side. Ellen, there was a scene where they were at like this town hall meeting, and she had to brutally kill all these people that were trying to harm him. And he actually saw it up close and personal. And that kind of made him pause. Like, he literally paused in that scene and kind of was like, dang, I didn't know that it was, you know, her killing these people were that serious. I didn't know it was that brutal. And it kind of made him feel like, is she the one that I need to be with? Would it be easier if I was with somebody else? So I really liked that there was a little conflict in their relationship. Another thing, speaking of relationships, another relationship that I really liked in this story was Vin and Orsour'S relationship. I hope I'm saying that right. I believe his name is Orsour'. And Orsour' is a Kandra. And a Kandra is this thing that can, once something dies, they can take over that body and portray that person. So this Kandra was actually in the first book, where when Kelsier died, he made a contract with Kelsier and used Kelsier's bones and essentially became Kelsier, and kind of like ran through the streets and made people believe that maybe Kelsier was still alive to give them hope. So because he made that contract with Kelsier, it was kind of like a contract that he had to be with Vin and like stay and kind of like protect her. So she actually had him become a dog. So she had like killed a dog, and then he took over the dog's body. And so we have Vin and Orsour'S, this dog, and their relationship turned into like a beautiful friendship, in my opinion. Orsour' was very closed off. He didn't really like to talk about himself. He was literally here to serve Vin and do whatever it is that she needed him to do. And Vin is very closed off, and has to do with a lot of the trauma from her past. So just seeing them build this relationship, I freaking loved. And it broke my heart when, I'm not going to spoil this, but it broke my heart when there was a certain scene in this book when we find out that Orsour' did something to betray her. And that killed me, and it seemed like it killed him, and then it killed her, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so sad. But I don't know what is going to happen with them in the third book. But one of the things I hope is that maybe this didn't like tear them apart completely, because I really liked their relationship. I really liked all the scenes that they were in together. I really liked the conversations that they had. It was just like towards the end of that, everything was just really genuine with them and not so transactional like it was in the beginning of the story. The last thing that I wanted to talk about as far as this book goes is Ellen. Elend was part of the nobility in the first book, so we did not know if he was on Kelsier's side or not. So when the Lord Ruler died and Kelsier died, then Elend took the Lord Ruler's spot, and now he is trying to rule Luthadel. But the thing about Elend, and he is too nice. He was too nice throughout this story. And I just don't think he understood that in order to be a king, like, you have to make some decisions, and you are going to have to piss some people off that you don't want to, but you have to as king. And we had the introduction of another character who I really loved, and that was Tindwell, who was a terrace woman. So she came from the same place as Sazed did. Sazed is a character from the first book who comes back in the second book. They are terrace people. So she came so that she could help Elend become a better king. And it took a while. It took a while for him to grow a pair of balls and use them. Like, there were so many times that I was just like, oh my God, just make these people mad and do what you have to do. There is a part in this book where his people like voted him off the throne. They didn't want him to be king anymore. And it was kind of like he was okay with that. It didn't seem like he was trying to fight for his place on the throne. Before that even happened, he had made these crazy rules where it was possible for them to even do that. So it was like, dude, what are you doing? He infuriated me through the like majority of this book. And then towards the end, when, you know, these armies have finally attacked and the Koloss have finally attacked, and he finally grew some hair on his chest and started acting like a king. Oh my God. It took majority of the book, but I was here for it. There was a scene in the book, and I am going to spoil this scene because it was probably one of my favorite scenes. So there was like a scene in the book where his friend Jassus, like I said in the beginning, had this Koloss army that was coming to try to take over Luthadel. And these Koloss, again, are like these big blue burly creature things that can really take out a lot of his people, and he was not having it. So he tried to go to Jassus and talk to him like a regular human being and be like, hey dude, you know, we're friends. Why are you having these Koloss come and attack my city? Like why? What are you going to gain from this? And Jassus was not giving him the answers that Elend needed. So he decided that he like started fighting Jassus's guards, and then I think he like stabbed Jassus in the shoulder, and I was like, yes, Elend, yes. I'm sorry, Elend, yes, we finally are getting there. He finally grew a pair of balls and he was using them. Oh my gosh, I loved it. I loved his character arc and his development. I like how he started off as this, I want to do the right thing, and I don't want to make anybody mad, and I just want to be here for the people, to this, he's fighting everybody and chopping people's heads off, and he is giving them the business at the end of this book. Yes, I was here for it. And then we find out something that happened to him at the end of the story that I'm also not going to spoil. So I just wonder how that is going to take effect in the third book. So I am a true believer that this is a great series. I hope that the third book does not let me down. Like I said before, I wasn't really a fan of the first book like I wanted to be. I love The Well of Ascension. 5 out of 5 stars. 5 out of 5 stars. 5 out of 5 stars. I love this. So I don't think this is going to be the book for everybody. If you were like me and you didn't like the first book as much, and you are not somebody that likes a slower paced book, or you don't really like all of the political intrigue, you're probably not gonna like this. But if you're like me and you can do without all of the fighting and all that, and you can just take in the plotting and the scheming and getting some character developments, you are going to enjoy this book. I can't wait to read the third book, which is The Hero of Ages, and figure out how all of this is going to end. But I love this, and that's pretty much all that I have to say. So that's all that I have for you guys. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.